Welcome back, bank standers, to another episode of Video Game World Tours, a series where we slow down and soak in a game's environment. Today we're returning to the land of Gielinor in search of weird spots, because there's no shortage of them in this game. Amir's Arena is a place that exists. It's kinda empty around here. Which might not seem like a big deal, considering a lot of the places in the game are empty. But when compared to what it was, you can see why it's so interesting. I say, compared to what it was, technically this was a different place back a couple years ago. What lies here now was once the Duel Arena. It was super big, and I mean big. Looking at videos of it from back in the day, it honestly blows my mind how many people were here. I don't think I've seen any place this populated in the game since I started playing. For those who don't know, the Duel Arena was a place where you could fight other players 1v1. Simple enough, right? I know people like PvP in games like this, but would that really draw such a crowd? Well, there's another aspect to the Duel Arena. One that defined not only this space, but the game as a whole to a large part of its audience. You could wager in-game gold on these fights. That tiny feature turned what could have been a chill area to test out your combat skills against worthy opponents into a hotbed for gambling, real-world trading, and scamming. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is what the game was to a lot of people. Risking big stacks of cash on one fight, die an embarrassing death and lose all your money, or win big and have even more to wager on your next fight. I actually started playing this game seriously just over a year ago, but I've been aware of old school RuneScape for a while. It was always on my radar, and for the longest time it was just the gambling game to me. I saw clips of all those streamers wagering hundreds of real-life dollars on just one fight and losing it all. I knew there was obviously more to the game, and that it was probably good outside of the Duel Arena, but still, the popularity of this place stuck out even to non-RuneScape players such as myself. But eventually, Jagex had enough. They removed the Duel Arena. Now granted, you can still find people advertising gambling services, gold buying services, or scammers in-game. Rule breakers are always going to be around. But the Duel Arena was like a porch light to moths, and they just turned it off. That leaves us with Amir's Arena, the Duel Arena's replacement. The same land where hundreds of people congregated to play their own version of RuneScape is now empty. People that spent their days at the Duel Arena left to go PvP elsewhere, pick up bossing, or maybe just drop the game altogether. There are still a handful of people here, doing it purely for the love of player versus player action, but the vast crowds that this arena would draw are no more. The next spot is more of a collection of spots. While I just started really getting into this game a year ago, I tried playing it a handful of times as a kid. It was one of those games I couldn't really escape hearing about at school. So even back then, this game was on my radar. I dipped my toes in to play occasionally and liked it well enough. But I always found myself mesmerized by spots like this, boundaries between the free-to-play and members areas of the world. Old school RuneScape is free-to-play. You can do a lot of the stuff in this game without having to pay a dime. But if you want access to the full experience, you gotta pay for membership. And part of that full experience are whole other regions of the world. Look at this map that shows the areas you can't visit as a free-to-play player. Even if large portions of this map weren't in the game when I was playing in the mid-2000s, it still felt like there was a lot being held back from me. Hell, even if it was just one town, I would have felt the same. I was automatically mesmerized by content I couldn't access as a free-to-play player. I never would have been able to convince my parents to pay a monthly fee for just one game. so it was either be happy with the free-to-play areas, or play something else. But standing right here, on the outskirts of Varrock, facing a path leading towards Mauritania, it was so magical. I'm reminded of a moment in my Skyrim tour. I made a point in that video to visit Refugees Rest. It's a spot along the eastern border of the map, and it's right up against the world boundary. Like you walk along this path and just hit an invisible wall. You can't go any further. I pondered the possibility of potentially progressing past the perimeter. What would I find if I were to walk through this invisible wall and into the next region? But of course, you can't. There's nothing actually there. This is the edge of the game world. But this isn't the end of the game world. Members can just walk through this fence and go on about their business in the world beyond. I never ponied up the cash when I was younger to go through it myself, so it was kind of a special moment when I did pay up so many years later and was finally able to break free of my chains. Just clicking the gate and seeing it open was such a special moment. The rest of the world was finally open to me. Something I actually just discovered with the introduction of the Hunters Guild in Varlamore are the game's many hunter areas. These are sections of the map with a handful of creatures to train the hunter skill on. These areas feel so lively. While you can find peaceful and hostile creatures dotted throughout the game world, the hunter areas feel so much more real. Seeing all the creatures meandering about, doing their own thing, it's nice. Generally, there's a few creatures placed near a hunter trappable spot, so it kinda gives the impression that these creatures live in small packs. And these are full-on ecosystems. Look at all the creatures in the Piscatoris hunter area. Kebits, birds, ferrets, chinchompas. I wonder what the food chain is like here. Who's the top? None of them seem particularly dangerous, except for the chinchompas. But, well, they're dangerous in the fact that they explode, so I don't think they're catching any food that way. I really do like the look of this area. I think it might be my favorite. When you pull the camera down to eye level, you can truly imagine yourself in this field, looking at all the birds and butterflies floating about. It's nice and natural, not too dangerous either. None of these animals are interested in attacking you. There's a live and let live vibe going on around here. Though they don't seem to mind when you capture their friends. Maybe the player is just really sneaky, and the Kebits don't notice dozens of their own kind being captured. The Relica Hunter area is interesting to me, because they don't usually come to the snowier northern side of the map. Literally no living flora here, unlike the flourishing Piscatoris area, just the dead trees in this lower section. But up these steps leads you onto an iceberg. I like the coloring leading from the water to the top of the iceberg. So much pure white up here. I do have to reiterate just how weird this feels. I've put nearly 19 days into this game, and almost none of that has been in the snow. I've seen my fair share of forests, deserts, jungles, beaches, volcanoes, pretty much anything but snow. Huh, looking at the map, I guess there really isn't a lot of snowy spots. Just here in Troll Country, some of these islands, the northern coast of Zaya, a few mountains here and there. Okay, so I guess there is a fair amount of snow. I'm just not used to this much. Plus, this spot is just genuinely beautiful. Staring off the northern coast, gazing out, wondering what lies just past the horizon. For this next section here, I wanted to do something I haven't done in a while. Rapid fire, we're gonna visit some viewer-suggested spots. I made a YouTube community post asking for your favorite weird locations in old-school RuneScape. I picked some of my favorites from your favorites, and I'll talk about them right now. Well, not right now, I'm still introducing this section. I'll start right after I finish. Our first spot is from Okay, wow. Maybe I shouldn't do viewer suggested spots. It's from Servin Azernka? Yeah, I think I nailed it. They suggested I check out the cave with the ogre family. I actually remember the quest that brings you here. Rance lives in the Feldip Hills with his kids, Feisty and Bugs. Cozy little place they got. There's some hides, benches to sit on around the fire, and a little spot back here. A bed? Perchance. There's a good amount of torches in here. Guess they would need light for a completely enclosed cave like this. Got a locked chest over here, only instead of being locked with an actual lock, it's locked by the fact that there's a big rock on it. Kind of a cute detail for an ogre home. I like what they have. They live away from civilization, eating chompy birds all day. What more could you want in life? The next spot is from Skilled Roy. Alright, simple enough name. They suggest the PVM arena. Not the PvP arena, the PVM arena. That's bizarre, I haven't heard of this. Granted, I'm not the most well-traveled in this world, but an arena sounds like a place I would have come across at least once. Apparently it's accessible from a portal in the second floor of some building in Edgeville. No surprise I've never seen this. I don't think I ever even paid attention to this building before. Huh, that's a portal alright. Wow, this is, it's a room. This was added back in December 2015 for the Clan Cup, and while the event ended just a month later at the beginning of 2016, this room still exists nearly a decade later. And this isn't even where all the fighting happened, this is just the lobby. I can't show you where the fights went down. Only accounts that had permission to start back in 2015 can start it today. I loaded up osrs.world, a website that shows off basically the entirety of old school RuneScape's map, and I went straight to where the actual arena would be. And you can't see anything. It's technically still there. If you look on the minimap, you can see 2 plain square rooms, but in the viewer, the terrain is just black. If you go back a bit though, you can see that the geometry is still technically there. It kinda glitches through. It's kinda sad most players don't get to go in there. It seems like the most recent time a player set foot in the arena was in late 2022, when some players who still had permissions from back in the day decided to come back and start it up again. As far as I know, this is the last time anyone has set foot in the PVM arena. It's kinda like the Berthorpe Games Room in a way, a spot I covered in my last video. I love exclusive spots like this. Quono... Oh man, you guys gotta pick easier to say names. Quonoa suggests I look at the Fisher Realm. It's been a long time since I did the quest though. Oh yeah, it's all coming back to me. It's a tiny little world a handful of people call home. Honestly, it kinda feels like a microcosm of RuneScape as a whole. It has crop fields, animal pens, a castle, all packed together so tightly. It's comfy, though it wasn't always like this. Going back to osrs.world, we can look at the version of this area you see at the start of the quest, and things aren't going so well. Trees are dying, crops are sparse, and the castle is in ruins. I'm glad we were able to play a part in fixing this place up. I wonder how many people returned here after the quest was finished. I know I wouldn't have if not for this video. How many people entered this bathroom here? Now that I think about it, I can't remember the last time I've seen a bathtub in this game. I'm sure I have seen one before, but it's weird actually taking notice for once. I wonder how many tubs there are in the world out there, just waiting to be found. Great little pocket of the world here. Okay, final quick spot, and it's from forget it. This guy suggests we look at the lone teak tree near Castle Wars. I do remember this spot. I came here to get 50 fire making so I could take on the Wintertot minigame. I think it's funny that special trees in this game are usually just all by themselves, or with a couple others of their own kind. Like here's one teak tree surrounded by normal trees. How did this get here? It's kinda sad. It has no family. I don't have much else to say, Teak Tree, but I wish you luck in making friends with the other trees. Maybe you guys can bond over this great view. Alright, final spot of the video. And we're not ending with one of my favorite spots in the game. We're ending with my least favorite. I hate this place, and I'm sure a lot of you out there do too. Welcome to the Underground Pass. I hate it here. It's long, confusing, and you gotta bring a lot of supplies to make it through. Thank God for the Quest Helper plugin that tells you exactly what to bring and where to go. I'd go crazy if I had to traverse this dungeon without it. There's 5 rooms, and they're all annoying. But the real star of the show is the 4th room. It's a massive cave with steep ledges and narrow bridges that might drop you down to the level below. Look at the layout of this section. This is insane. And it's a long walk from one side to the other. There aren't many uninterrupted straight paths like this in the game. It really sticks with you. And if you fail any of the random checks while crossing the chasm, you have to walk all the way back. This place is an actual nightmare, and I'm so glad I finished Regicide so I can just teleport past this dungeon. But honestly, I think some part of me kinda likes this place. Deep down in my soul, I'm drawn to the scale of this room here. It's impressive. Like I said, there aren't many areas in the game this big. And at the bottom of the pit below is another massive room. I can't think of another cave in this game that's as expansive as this. Normally, caves have passages and tunnels that zigzag around the whole play space, like we saw earlier in the dungeon. But here, it's just so bare. Imagine being one of the dwarves here, trapped in this cave. This little corner is the only safe space they have from the hostile creatures towards the other side of the cave. 2 buildings, that's all they got. I kinda feel bad for them. This spot sticks out to me because of that. No matter how much I might hate traversing the Underground Pass, I think as a place in-world, it's super memorable. I still don't want to come back here though. Check out either of these videos up next. I'm definitely thinking of covering more MMOs in the future. Worlds in these types of games are so unique compared to traditional single-player worlds, and I gotta look at some more. Leave a comment of what you think I should cover next. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.